a different it was a different approach that we had not really heard. And I think everybody who attended yesterday really was, I would say, surprised in a good way, because it was a topic that we usually don't talk about in real estate, and only because, it's something that brokerages usually can't offer, or if they do, as Ben alluded, who was the speaker, they have the all-in-one product, which is not a bad product. It's just, it's not best of breed, as he talked about. And so one of the things that we focused on was your tech stack. So what does that even mean? The tech stack is all of the technology that you use to run your business. And he mentioned, years ago, you didn't have all this technology. You didn't have social media. You didn't have all the CRMs. The MLS was not, electronic. It wasn't digital. It was basically books that you had, and, you didn't have cell phones. And now everything has changed, and there's so much distraction for agents that they're kind of at a point where they're exhausted and they don't know what to do. And all the information that they have is completely mismanaged. And we feel that every day in our business, whether it's mortgage, insurance, or real estate, all three of them, there's just so much information, so much technology. And how do you manage the data and information was the key. So when I had this conversation with Ben and his couple of his partners, Kelly and Greg, who run Agent Hub, it wasn't about what Agent Hub can do. It was the philosophy that you have the real estate agent whose main job is to lead generate, follow up, go on appointments, and negotiate contracts. And yet those jobs were being overshadowed by all the other things that they have to do in order to get those things done, such as putting information into the database, reaching out to the people who are already in the database, making sure that you're providing value by offering a great experience on your IDX website so that they could search homes on your platform versus going to Zillow or Realtor.com or Redfin, where once they're on that platform, chances are that lead is going to be sold to another agent or to another brokerage. And so we really talked about how can we do it where we can take all this information and all these other things that an agent has to do on a daily basis and let someone else manage that, which is key. Because even if you're really good at that, if you're really good at managing the information, reaching out to your past clients, reaching out to the people who you meet at open houses in a consistent way, what ends up happening is naturally you get busy, you get business. And all of a sudden, because you have business to service, you actually don't have the time to do that, even if you're good at it. And I experienced that very early on. And so one of the things we thought was, okay, if I want to have our real estate business be successful and get back on track, we need to make sure that there's someone else managing the technology, the database, and the back end so that nothing falls through the cracks. So for example, on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m., I do KV Core Explain, and that's really for EXP agents because, we have KV Core there as kind of like our base fundamental tech stack product. And one of the easiest things you can do is when you have someone in that, when you put someone into KV Core, go into their profile and add a market report. And that's part of our tech stack, is add a market report. Now, the market report that KV Core has is a really good market report, but it's not necessarily the best of breed. So if that's the only product you have, you should take advantage of it. Because one of the things that Ben mentioned, and everyone always asks me, whether it's mortgage or insurance or real estate, is, hey, what CRM to use? What's the best CRM to use? And the answer used to be the best CRM is the one that you use, but now it's the best CRM, best of breed, is the one that's actually managed. Just because you use it doesn't necessarily mean it's being managed properly. And you can see most people get frustrated and don't use their CRM because they don't see the results. And the reason is because the information going in there is not being managed. You could have thousands of people in a CRM. And what Ben said was that if you have thousands of people, but there's no management of information, no insight, it's just a phone book, because all you have is just people's names, phone numbers, and email addresses, but there's no way to actually connect with them. And so what we're doing today is just to briefly highlight a few of those things and open up a conversation. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to have a 3-part series where we'll dive into the exact tech stack that we're using and what's worked for us and what hasn't worked. And what I want to share in that 3-part series is not necessarily this is what you should do. It's this is what I did. This is how it didn't work for me on this product, but it did work for me on this product. And that's why we've chosen this one. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a fit for you, but I'll at least do the step 1, which is identify where your gaps are. What aren't you using? What are you using? What's working? What's not? And the reason we're doing all this is because the market is actually normalizing. It's actually not shifting or slowing down. I know people like to say shift, but shift a lot of times has a bad connotation to it. Like it's actually worse. What's actually happening is the market was so hot. It was so red hot that even part-time agent who, let's say they were working a full-time job, and then after work, they would go out and show 1 or 2 homes. And they felt like they were, real estate was easy because if I show a couple of homes, we're going to get an offer. Or if I have a listing, it's probably going to be sold within the first, 5 or 6 days, multiple offers. And so what that happened was people were not relying on technology or their skill set. And so now we're going back to more of a normalized market. And in fact, I look at the MLS every morning, and today, right now, I pulled up the Daytona Beach MLS, the absorption rate, which is the number of months it would take for all the inventory to sell, is only at 2.5 months. So it's up from 1.5, which was earlier this year. That's still incredibly a good market still. The only problem is, once you're used to that fast pace and multiple offers and that, it feels like, wow, it's really slowed down. But it's really going back to a normal market, which, a house should be on the market for, 2-3 months before it's actually sold, so that you as a real estate agent can leverage that to market the property, to market your services, to really do open houses. All of those things are very important to do, and we weren't able to do that at a high level before. So now that we have it, it's more important to understand your tech stack, understand what I can do to really leverage that, especially going into 2023. I shared the analogy of, when I used to go to amusement parks, you'd get in line and the line would be 2 or 3 hours for some of the amazing rides. And then all of a sudden that ride will malfunction, and, they'd come on the loudspeaker and say, hey, this ride is malfunction. It's going to be down for the foreseeable future. Please, leave. And what we would do is we would just stand in line, because we knew that usually there was a technical glitch or something that would happen, and they would get that ride back up and running in the next few minutes, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. So when everybody left the line, we'd be able to advance our position all the way to the front, and all of a sudden the ride would open now. So that's kind of what's going to happen in real estate, especially if you look at mortgage right now. Mortgage is having a lot of firms that are either getting out of lending, or they're really cutting down their operations. They're laying off staff and support staff and loan originators. And we're going the exact opposite way. We're actually going to the front. We're hiring more staff. We're hiring more loan originators. On the real estate side, I think you're going to get the same thing. You're going to be a lot of agents who are either going to get out of the business or really withdraw. And I think it's the wrong time to withdraw. I think it's the time where you should advance, because this competition is not going to be there as much, before. And so we wanted to jump into this quick tech stack. I know George had put in a JPEG.
Well, I'm actually going to pull it up on the screen for us so we can take a look at it. So this is when you just heard Ollie talk about best of scale, I think is what he said. What's the word? Breed. Best of breed. So this is, as he just said, for CRMs, these are some of the ones we're going to cover today, and we're going to go into a lot more. This is just some things that came up. Obviously, what's your CRM? It's up to you on that one. What's your IDX website? Okay, well, a lot of us have that incorporated in our CRM. Let's take a quick look at that. I use KV Core because it's free, and I'm a big fan of free, and it's excellent. KV Core, though, has a consumer retention rate of 27.9. Means the consumer loss is a little bit lower, and the search optimization on this is 44, which is very good, by the way. Now, I say that because you can look at Chime, which is at 13% and 19%, and you've got a whole slew of others. Funny thing, Showcase IDX is 95% retention rate. Now, when you see that retention rate, and Ollie, jump in if this doesn't resonate right on it, it's not that like I've got 27% of them are going to stay on there and I've got them forever. It means they're on there, they look at it and they go, wow, this is just really a little bit confusing. I'm not getting it. And they pop off and look somewhere else, usually Zillow or Realtor.com. So that lead then goes into what's going to be our purchasing, our lead generation, where we're purchasing those leads. Our IDX is important. How user-friendly is it? Ali, am I hitting the nail on the head with that when I'm talking about IDX and consumer retention?
Yeah, absolutely. And, the biggest thing that is frustrating for us agents is we don't, when you compete against a site like Zillow, Zillow has several hundred, top paid software engineers whose sole focus is to make the customer experience better, get it to be more sticky. And they're working on that every day in a day in, day out. And what we're doing is, hey, we just got the one website. You set it up one time when you first come on board, and that's it. And so having a best of breed IDX website allows for the people who you send to that website, especially if you're sending them market reports or listing alerts, and it leads them back to your search page, to stay on your page. And the reason why they highlighted Showcase IDX, the reason is because EXP actually owns Showcase IDX now. They bought them a few years back. I wasn't sure exactly what year, but part of the reason why they bought that is because EXP is a technology company, right? And so they bought Showcase IDX because they saw the platform has such a high retention rate and such a low bounce rate, and they're going to incorporate that into that technology. If you're looking to get really aggressive with your IDX site, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be found, but it's when you have people in your database, it's sending property alerts out and it's sending them market reports. They come back to that Showcase IDX site to search. That's where information is going to come to you. One thing's like, for example, if somebody says, we're going to look in 2 years, like maybe you sold them a house 6 months ago, they say, oh, maybe we'll move in 2 or 3 years. And all of a sudden, 3 months later, you see them searching on your site. And the reason is because Showcase IDX is going to be able to alert you that, hey, they looked at this property, they looked at that property, and they've stayed on that property. And one of the features it has, it allows you to invite family and friends to actually search with you, so they can see exactly what you're looking at. So it takes it even more sticky, which is something that the other IDX sites usually don't have, or it's weak. And the reason why, if you decide to go that way, Showcase IDX is really designed for you to have a custom website, so you can design it any way you want. And I know that EXP agents actually get a discounted rate. So I believe Showcase IDX is usually like, I believe $69 to $99 a month. For EXP agents, I believe that comes down to $29 a month. But if that's part of like, hey, I'm not going to go out and do that right now, but it's part of the tech stack to decide, hey, where am I weak at? What am I not doing properly? And which one do I need to actually add in there? And that tech stack that George shared with us is where you start. The first one is to identify, evaluate, and then decide what you're going to do.
Okay, so let's go back to this tech stack real quick, because I want to kind of move through this one. So when they're talking about IDX, it's obviously, we've just gone through a list of which ones tend to be pretty sticky. The bottom line is, though, at this point, most of us are going to be, if I have one, I'm going to use that. And then we're going to kind of add to it. Now, as you get more fluid in your technologies, and they all have to combine, they all have to work together. That is mission critical. So if you've got a CRM, I use KV Core as an example. KV Core does a really good job. Can it be better? Absolutely. But that's a fine tweak. If you're not using a CRM, let's start using it, because that's important. Your IDX website, more likely than not, is included in there. Now, if you're listing focused, you want to have the best in class of your homeowner reports. We use KV Core. KV Core does homeowner reports. They're very, very good. If you wanted to do something a little different, HomeBeat is actually going to be the best one available to you. And I believe, actually, I'm positive, this is the HomeBeat plan, just so you can see it. Doing a CRM for free, if you're adding that and stay automated, it's $16 a month. It's billed once a year. And for the whole suite is right here. You can go to cloudagentsuite.com, or you can Google HomeSuite as well. It'll pull it up for you. I wanted to make sure that you had access to that. So HomeBeat is the best that we have found, or that has been found, for giving really interactive consumer homeowner reports, CMAs, full-on reports of what their property is doing. If you're not willing to do it, use the platform you currently have, but let's make sure we're providing this to everybody on there that's a homeowner. Why wouldn't we be doing this? Listings to Leads is your marketing platform for sure. And Ali, what I'm going to do is just kind of jump through these, and then I'm going to turn it loose for you with everything that you need to do. This is listings to leads. The cost for this is $60 a month. And in that cost breakdown, it's 10 listings or less per month that are rotating. You can turn it on and turn it off if you choose to. But what's really cool is the marketing of these listings. And folks, I'm actually going to stop here for a second, or Ollie, let's make sure we come back to how important marketing is going to be in the very near future. Here is some of your listings, marketing listings. Joe, get used to this. This is going to be your baby. So you're going to know all about this pretty darn soon. Just give you a heads up, my brother. That's happening pretty quickly as my partner in crime. Folks, this is really, really powerful when you're listing your property or putting marketing out for that. And it's going to be so important for you to be fluid in this. And we got to cover Curbio and Stack, Ali, after I'm done with this one. Now, lead generation, all of this can be Zillow or open houses or door knocking. It doesn't really matter, but this is feeding your funnel. And the last thing is mass communication. Again, KV Core has a very robust editing platform where you can put out mass emails. I happen to use MailChimp because I find it to be a little easier and it's integrated with my CRM, which is KV Core. MailChimp is the best of the best. It gets the best delivery rate. This is an example of what's available to you, some of the best tech stacks. Ollie, we kind of covered those, and I can go back as you see fit. As long as you promise to cover Curbio and Stack at some point as tools all of us must possess. Actually, let's just do it right now. Let's just knock this one out of the park. Give me your thoughts on Curbio and Stack. Quite a few of us probably don't even know what it is. Can you kind of walk us through that so we get an idea of it, and then we'll talk about the power of it?
Yeah, so let's touch on Curbio. Curbio is one of the partners of EXP now. The gist of it is that Curbio is a general contractor. They can go into your listings that you have from anywhere from a cleanup, a deep clean, decluttering, all the way to a refresh, which is basically like painting carpet, maybe countertops, changing faucets, all the way through a complete renovation of a property. And that's going to become important now that the market gets back to a normal market, especially for sale by owners, expireds or canceled, or just a listing for your database, because the beauty of the value proposition that, Tony Robbins says, make an irresistible offer and then market. Those are the only two things you need in business. Well, Curbio's irresistible offer is fix it now, pay when you sell. So you can actually go in, it's a free estimate for your sellers, right? So if you got a listing that you want to do, or if you have a for sale by owner you're prospecting and it needs a makeover, get a free estimate of the property to see what kind of scope of work they would need to do. And then that estimate, you can discuss it with the seller and say, this is part of our concierge service. This is what we're offering. We're going to go ahead and do a light refresh, paint, carpet, whatever it is. And Curbio will actually tell you, if you do this work, we anticipate that it should add an additional X amount to the value of the home. So for example, if you're doing something that's maybe flooring, right? So you're going to redo flooring, you're going to paint, cost could be $7,500. We anticipate that $18,000 of value will be added to the property so that you can justify to the seller while we're doing that. And it makes the property much more marketable and desirable for a buyer to buy it, because it's not only more modern, but it's also something that the buyer can just move into and not have to worry about doing the work. And the beauty of that also is that Curbio doesn't charge any fees. They don't charge any interest. They don't record a lien on the property. The time they get paid is at closing. Now, what happens if the house doesn't close? Well, you've got a year to sell that property. If it doesn't sell within that year, and Curbio has said they've never experienced this before, but if it doesn't sell within that year, then they will record a lien and you just make payments on it as well. But I would definitely encourage you guys, go to Curbio has webinars every week. You can go to Workplace, just search Curbio. You can see the webinar. They have marketing material that they include in there. They have a portal specifically for EXP agents to go ahead and put in the property information to get a free estimate for their seller. There's no obligation for the seller to move forward with that work if they get an estimate. They can actually also decide what scope of work they want to do. The only thing Curbio doesn't do in their renovations is they don't add square footage to the home. So they can't add like an addition or anything like that. But they'll do complete gut renovation, which is like, tearing out the entire kitchen, bathrooms, redoing that. They'll definitely do that. That's part of their services. And they share examples of some of the ones that they've done, anything from a light clean out, which is several $100, to a complete gut renovation of a Washington DC home that they did. And I believe it was like a $72,000 project, but it ended up adding over $200,000 to the sales price. And so that was huge because that profit goes right to the seller and they could see that value. But that's a marketing tactic that now you're going to be able to use, because in this market, when everything is actually coming back to a normal market, you can actually use that. So Curbio, they are a partner of ours. You can use them. And Compass, for example, offers this type of service.
1 second, my friend. So I pulled this up. I'm in Enterprise right now, and you'll see in one of these boards right here on the very first one, it says EXP Partners. Once you click on that, you'll see that it brings us to our partners. And what he was talking about, if this is something you're interested in, you absolutely want to go here and click Get Started. It is important for us, every one of us, to have this. And every one of you out there, remember, you folks, I promise you, you're all listing agents that work with buyers. Now, you may have a history with buyers, but you are listing agents that work with buyers. And in this market, your level of experience, your level of incredible offer, as Ali just spoke of, why wouldn't we talk to everybody? So listen, we have the ability to redo your property, to freshen it up and improve the amount of money you're going to make. And we're going to talk about the next one. So consider, how are you going to communicate that to everybody that you know? I mean, everybody, because this is your value proposition. One more thing on this before we turn it back over to you, Ali. Y'all got to consider that you can also have the ability to guarantee a cash offer on every single home. We covered this yesterday. Mark Spain is in my personal area, in the Orlando area. And he is crushing it with guaranteed offer on your property. He's going through Open Door. He's got a contract with him to do that. You have that same ability with OfferPad, quite honestly, with Open Door, truthfully, as well as with Express Offers. If you're part of our company, why isn't your value proposition to everybody? We can get your repairs done with no out-of-pocket money until your property closes. We can help you make a cash offer so you're the strongest, and we guarantee an offer on your property within the first 72 hours. Cash offer you can close quickly on. It's up to you. That's a value proposition. Ali, I'm sorry, I just couldn't let that go by.
No, that's one. The second thing I want to talk about was Express Offers, but I just put into the chat the link for Curbio's page for EXP. So you can just copy that link there, and that's how you can do an estimate. Curbio is actually available to all brokerages. It's not just EXP, but they've partnered with EXP as one of our preferred partners. So the other thing is, if you guys are outside of some of their markets, you can actually go to their site on Curbio and find out if they're in your market. If they're not in your market, you can submit a request to them, and they'll definitely take a look. They can typically work about 40 miles outside of most, 40-mile radius of most metropolitan areas that they're already servicing. And they have cities that they're adding every month on there as well. So just to keep that in mind. But all this is part of your offering that you're going out. You're not just going to go out and say, hey, I'm an agent, let me list your house. It's like, hey, I'm an agent and here's what we do different. It's not why we're better, it's what we do different. And so part of that is, hey, we have a service where we can come and give you an estimate of how to refresh your home, get it to look the best for it going to sale, and get you more money. That was the key, right? Is not just to get that, is to get more money. One of the things that I heard when we were in Las Vegas for EXPCon, John Cheplak said it. He said, don't discount, because discount is cheap. Offer incentives. And so this is an incentive that we're offering. Instead of saying, hey, why don't I reduce my commission, or let's reduce the price, let's offer incentive package. The incentive could be, let's get a free estimate and find out if we can improve the value of the property, do value add, right? This is exactly what Open Door and OfferPad do anyway. They buy your house at a discount, right? They give you cash, get rid of the seller, go back in, do the exact same renovations that Curbio would do, put it back on the market and sell it at a higher price. And it's going to sell faster because it just looks better. It's just more appealing. And so that's number one. The second thing is on Express Offers. That's another tool in your toolkit that if you're not EXP Express Offer certified, it's killing your listing conversion, because one of the things that you can do when you're prospecting, whether it's to for sale by owners, canceled expireds, or your database, is the fact that, hey, I can give you a cash offer if your property qualifies. Let's meet so I can figure out if your property would qualify. And if that fits that I box for the buy box for one of our buyers, you got a cash offer. Now, Whether or not the seller decides to accept that cash offer, that's not your decision. Same thing when you get an offer from any other buyer. You just present the offer, tell them the pros and cons, and decide what they want to do. There's only 3 things they can do: accept the offer, counter, or reject it. Same thing. Even EXP offers had mentioned that only 3% of their offers are actually accepted by sellers. The other 97% end up turning into a listing for the agent. And so Curbio, Express Offers, these should be part of your tech stack as well, especially if you want to focus on getting more listings, which we should all be focusing on because listings control the market. One last thing I wanted to mention too is I remember I was going through some of my notes. This was back in February of this year, and I looked back and I remember I went to Keller Williams family reunion back in February of 2019. And they did a whole study of the agents that had the most gross commission income and teams that had the most gross commission income. The only difference that they had between gross commission income, they broke it into 4 categories. They looked at the number of touches that they had done and the least amount of commission, which was between 50 and 100,000 gross commission. The average number of touches to their database was 19 for the whole year. Okay. The ones that did between 100 and 200,000 in gross commission income, that was 34 touches on average to their database. The ones that were doing between 200,000 to 2 million in gross commission income, it was 36 touches. So doing 34 versus 36, only 2 more touches, but the income was much higher. And then those that were doing over $2 million of gross commission income teams, you know how many touches they were doing? 36. So what was the difference? And Gary Keller said that the difference was the size of the database. And here's the graphic. I took a picture of it here. Those that were doing over $2 million of gross commission income had an average database size of 13,790. Those doing between 200,000 commission to 2 million had an average database size of 1,860. And those that were doing between 50 and 100,000 gross commission only had a size of database of 630. So when we're talking about this tech stack, we all have that database. We all know that many number of people. We just don't have it managed or in a central location. And that's why we're not seeing some of those results. So my goal was, okay, I need to figure out, number one, how to get everybody in one place so I can count and see how many I have. And number two, how do we manage it so that these people get those touches? It doesn't have to be a whole lot. 36 a year is only 2 or 3. It's not even 1 every week. If you think of it, there's 52 weeks in a year. So that's why this is so important for you to identify, evaluate, and decide, do I need to tweak what I have and have more of an offering versus trying to discount like everybody else? And that's why I think other brokerages are behind the 8 ball, because a lot of them are trying to figure out, how do we lower the price? How do we lower everything versus going towards quality and offering incentive? Because I think that's the key. Because if you take a look at it, I mean, you can go to McDonald's, great value, right? But it's low priced, right? That's what they're doing. Versus you go to a very good steakhouse. It's like they're both in business, but which one makes more profit? The steakhouse makes way more profit, because the problem with the average McDonald's is that you just don't have enough margin. And most McDonald's franchisees, if you talk to them, McDonald's says you need to own 2 or 3 in order for you to be profitable. The other ones that own single unit stores tend to usually sell them within the year or 2 because there just isn't enough margin. So just kind of doing this mastermind here is to really talk about, actually, I was just reading the chat real quick. Elsa mentioned, do we have a sample list showing examples of a 36 touch? Yes, I'll give you the easiest 36 touch you guys can do. Set them up on that home, the report, whether you use HomeBeat or use KV Core's market report. You can send that out every 7 days, every 14 days, every 21 days or 28 days. You can set that up and it's automatically sent out. And that's one of the things we do every single Tuesday night, is show you how to go into KV Core. It's very simple. Go into the person's profile. On the right-hand side, it says add market report. I add the city that they're located in or the city they're interested in. And then there you go. You set that up every 7 days, every 14 days, and that goes out automatically. And the beauty of it is when you're going to make your calls to your database, let's say you're going to call them 4 times a year, you can actually review to see, did they open that email up when they got that market report? And if they open it up, which properties did they click on? So when you're calling them, it's just not, it's a smart call. When you're calling them, you can say, hey, I noticed you were looking at the market report I sent out and you looked at these 2 properties. You guys want to go take a look at them? Or what do you think is happening in your neighborhood? You have all that information right there. The Tuesday night meeting is actually online and it's at exp.fun at 7 p.m. So 7 p.m. Eastern time, exp.fun. George, do you want to log into KV Core real quick and I can kind of show them that?
Absolutely. But real quickly, I'm at GPS Global Partners. If you hit the calendar coaching and training link, which is up on top for everybody, scroll on down, you'll see on Tuesdays, it's in that calendar. And there's the website exp.fun. So if you forget it, remember this calendar has all of the links and everything you need for ongoing for the stuff like this that we're adding to it. Wanted to make sure we have that. So I'll log into KV Core real quick, which is what you asked for. Is that correct, Ali?
Yeah, because we all have this already. And you can do exactly this without having to add any other technology to your tech stack for right now. So just pick anyone, doesn't matter who it is, just pick someone.
Well, this is Tiffany, so I'm going to pick hers.
Okay, sure.
Tiffany, I'm sorry. I always log into yours. It's I start with yours and then I throw off your people. We share KV Cores quite a lot. So I have access to everything that she's looking at. Sometimes I go in and I change phone numbers just to be a jerk. All right, let's go with, can I use Todd Micken? Tiffany, is that cool? We're going to set up a report. I'll just use him as an example, I guess. So I've clicked on this gentleman. Don't call him at 931-409-4133 and tell him that Tiffany says hello. Don't do that. Okay, whatever you do.
Nice.
All right. Shoot, Ali, it's all you. Tell me what to do.
Yeah, so here's the first thing I would do. So once you're in this record here, go down to the right-hand side, just scroll down a little bit. You see where it says market reports?
Market reports, I do.
Yep, so just click add.
Add.
One thing I noticed is it says Daytona Beach, Florida. It doesn't have a specific address, but I don't need a specific address. All I need is just the city they're in or the city they're interested to move to.
So let's say I put in Jacksonville.
Yep, put in Jacksonville.
I was gonna say that one might not work because my KV Core doesn't have Jacksonville.
What city do you live in, Tiffany?
I put in Norfolk.
Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, NORFOLK.
Okay, so now you see that where it says that. I want you to pick the one that says city.
City, Norfolk, VA.
Yep, click on that. All right, now don't check the one that says use geographical areas rather than MLS areas. Just leave that as is. Don't do that one. And then click on there. So this is the frequency of how often you can send this report out automatically. I always leave it at 7 days, and here's the reason why. I want more touches, even though 7 days to you might seem a lot. Zillow's sending one out every 2 to 3 days. So put 7. You can always change the frequency of this. And then now if you hit add, just click on add.
Okay.
You can always delete a report or stop from sending it. So if you notice, it's going to show you the report here. Click on view report, George, so you can see what it looks like when it's going to go out. Right there. There you go. Perfect. So what this does, this is the report that they're going to get emailed to them. And the beauty of it is it's going to open up in your KV Core IDX website. So they're already on your site, right? No need to go to ZillowRealtor.com. And if they decide to start searching anything on your site, they're already on your site. And so now scroll down, it's going to give you stats right here at the top. It's going to give you the map, average price sold, some listings here. Click on this popular listing, the one that's 249, 100 Willowwood.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to click on that. Boom, they're on your site. They're searching all these options that they have. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go back to KV Core platform, the second tab you have up there. Okay, now I want you to refresh this real quick. Refresh the page. Now watch, did you see that it just told you that that person just saw that property?
That's correct.
So now when you're sending out these touches every week, this is what you'd be sending out. It's great to send out postcards. It's great to send out cookie recipes, but that doesn't do anything to improve your business. It does improve your maybe familiarity, but this report is absolutely critical. And the first fundamental foundation for your tech stack is to get everybody in a market report or a home report. And we already have this with KV Core. And guess what? Right now, right here, we just did something in what, less than a minute? A couple minutes, maybe. You need to do that for everybody who's in your database and everybody going into your database. Set them up on a market report, number one, where they live or where they're looking to move to.
Okay, terrific. So it doesn't matter if they're buyers or sellers, they're going to get the geographical area that they're focusing on as a market report, and the frequency we can manage as well inside of KV Core under the market reports. Now, just so I know, how do I get rid of this market report for him?
Yeah, that's that little X right next to the send now.
Awesome. Okay, so and now I'm able to, if I had needed to adjust it, it was the wrong area. Can I send two different locations?
Yes, you
Have two
can. You
different
can add-
areas.
Yes, you can just add another one. You can
Okay.
change the frequency. For example, let's say you just sold a property to your buyer, right? You can put that frequency at every 28 days. You know, they get it once a month, right? But then they tell you, hey, George, I want to buy an investment property in Richmond, Virginia. So now you put in market report Richmond, right? And you put that frequency 7 days, and you can also add them as a property alert. So these are some of the things that you would do to send out. So get this. This should be your fundamental foundation market stack is to put market report on there.
Okay. Two things. First, PJ's first, and we've got some questions that are in the chat that we're going to get to in just a second. So hang tight, guys. Raise your hand or put them in the chat. We're not going to miss. But PJ, I want to give you the floor. Can you go? Can you put your mic on and tell us what you got?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Thank you, George. I was trying to do exactly that. Say I pull up a listing, I circle prospecting, I get the 500 numbers closer to that home, and then I'm sending that out, and then I want to set up a hashtag that does that property report, for the whole group of a couple hundred, rather than going in and doing it each individually, because they're all going to be in that same neighborhood. But I can't figure out a way to do that at a more than a one-on-one basis. Like it won't let me do it by hashtag.
PJ, because that's more of a training scenario, and I think it's huge. I want to challenge everybody to put on your calendar that if you use KV Core, you definitely want to plug in on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and stick around. I don't want to not answer that, PJ, and he probably does have an answer, but to make sure we can hit on a lot of them, that's going to be a little more in depth, I think, Ali, to answer that properly. Is that fair?
Yeah, and you can always go back to KV Core and you see their little chat function on the bottom right. You can always chat with tech support, and they know exactly how to do anything that you have. And if it's something they don't do, a lot of times they'll try to figure out if that's something they can offer there.
This is what we're talking about, this chat button right here.
Okay.
It's in the bottom of every one of them. They're really good at getting back to you, PJ, but hang tight. We'll get to that one in just a little bit. I do want to make sure we go through some of the questions. The Tuesday night meeting that was brought up by Evelyn. Evelyn, thank you for participating. Love when you guys are participating and asking questions, because that means you're engaged, and that's huge. You'll get more the more you do. This is Tuesday night, every Tuesday night. The website is exp.fun. You can also go to GPS Global Partners under the training calendar, and everything's in there as well. The links for it as well. So if you forget, go to GPS Global Partners and go there, and it's exp.fun every Tuesday night, 7 to 9 or 7 to 8, 7:30. Put it on your schedule and just drop in and audit it. If you're not sure, you're going to pick up something to help your business. Holly asks, I'm sorry, Ali, please.
With those, all we're doing is very simple, basic KV Core stuff that you have it there. You just didn't know that you could use it. And so that's what I want, because once you get that started, then you can decide, okay, let's say I've got 200 market reports going out now. Maybe it is time to now buy HomeBeat subscription and elevate that, right? Because I've now got these people. But if you only have like 2 or 3 people and you've never really done it, there's no reason to pay extra for technology that you're just not going to use.
Maria said, if you choose the entire city, like West Palm Beach has several not so great areas, how do you control that? I would say zip code. Is that correct?
Yes, I would strongly recommend don't do zip code. And here's the reason why. When you do zip code, the numbers get way skewed, because zip code could be multiple cities, right? It doesn't necessarily sometimes keep it down to one. Plus, if you do zip code, if it's a big city, for example, like if you have like Sanford, Florida, that has like 7 or 8 zip codes. So if you're only picking one zip code, you're not really getting a good view of Sanford. And here's the other thing. Every city has areas where the values are more expensive or cheaper or not. This is taking it as a whole. So for example, even if you're doing like Beverly Hills, California, Beverly Hills is not always multi-million-dollar homes. There's certain parts where they're apartments, right? So I have seen that, and this is KV Core's best practice, they told me, is pick the city because it's going to give you the most average information, and that's what you want. You want to show the trend, because nobody's going to drill into that report and say, I think this stat that the number of homes sold is up 2% is wrong. It's basically for you to get that information to them, because if you're not getting that information to them, Zillow is. And then now Zillow becomes the value information provider and the resource versus you. So I wouldn't look too deeply into the numbers on it. It's basically showing you trends. So if you look at the KV Core market report, and you can always look at it for your area as well. I mean, we just saw the view report that doesn't go out until you click send now or the next time it's scheduled to go out. So I would definitely recommend using the city, because KV Core said that the best data they have to get a really good view of what's happening is do the city view, not neighborhood, not zip code, or the MLS geographical areas, because some MLSs might not cover that specific area for you as well. And I see that all the time in our area because we have 3 different MLSs. So the city view is the best one to pick. And then just the only thing I would do is I encourage you to send it out more frequent than less frequent, because you really need to be ahead of that, because they're going to get it from somewhere. It might as well be coming from you.
There's something I wanted to add to what were the general theme of this conversation, and something that I was looking for. So I may have stepped over something. One of the things that we created was a video on how to use EXP's KV Core's search. And we walk them through how they can create and customize their own very specific search in a very short video. I'll try and find it before we're done and I can press play so y'all can see it. I would strongly encourage that. And it kind of answers the question that Maria just brought up. If we've got one that is where you feel like, West Palm Beach is her example, is just so big and doesn't have it, you may want to send them a private email, hey, a couple of times, saying, I want to show you how you can use this search engine. It is the only thing that's close enough to the MLS with real data that doesn't give you false information like Zillow and Realtor.com. This is the real stuff. Now you're providing value and we're communicating that. And that's how I would probably navigate around it. And with any new person that you send something to, I would definitely include this video. Just put it on your YouTube page and then drop the link in. We've got email templates and text templates that are brilliant for that. Okay. Let's see. Do you recommend particular training on KV Cores? Yes, there is a ton of training on KV Core. If you go to that little support button up on top with KV Core, I'll actually show that to you.
And George, actually, when you're in KV Core on the left-hand side, they have live webinars every single day, and you can see their schedule too, based on time zone.
Under support and training.
Yeah, click support training.
Webinar schedule.
And you can see like what time zone you're in. So let's say you're in Eastern or Central time zone, just click on that.
Okay.
And it will show you today, Thursday, November 3rd at 1 p.m. They've got 2 trainings, 2:30 and 4 p.m.
So really no training at all. It's pretty much learn it yourself. There's not really a whole lot here to support.
That's right. No support.
Yeah, right.
So,
and then to add on to that, we've also got the Tuesday night class where Ollie's doing this. And here's why. This is a tool. Now, remember, this is one that's very specific to our brokerage because we get it for free. By the way, might want to consider this. IDX, oh my God, I've drawn a blank on the tech stack that was the best one.
Showcase IDX.
Showcase IDX. We bought that. Do you think maybe they're going to do some integrating? I don't know. I do. That's just me. I think they will. The fact that we're partners with Curbio, the Pactors, it is not announced yet, but it will be announced because Ollie and I were at the EXPCon and we started texting the president who's responsible for this. The next partnership that's coming out is a company called Knock. Knock is going to partner with EXP, which means you can repair their home, not have them pay until it closes. They can make a cash offer on their home by using Knock, which will do that for them as well. Now, they're not across the board in all states, but we're getting there. We're expanding it. And you can make sure that they get at least one cash offer within the first 72 hours because that's how awesome you are. That's your value proposition, is you're bringing people in with that value proposition. Now we're talking about communication and how we keeping in touch with our database. Are y'all seeing how all of this is working together to support you? And remember, you're listing agents. Every one of you, pay attention. You are listing agents. Every one of you, go list homes. Okay. You got value propositions. You're coming from contribution. Sorry, that was my huge passion mark. I'll go back to questions. Ollie, jump in. I'm going to find another question if you got.
I think Will had a question. Will, did you still have your question? I
Yeah,
don't know
my
if you-
question was about the integration of Showcase IDX and KV Core. So right now, if you have that, you're really just kind of using Showcase IDX as your landing page for your website and the search tool, but you're still having to manage your database through KV Core, and they're not necessarily connected right now. Is that what I'm hearing?
So Showcase IDX can be, you can have that information feed into the KV Core CRM. KV Core is a separate company, but you can
Right.
have Showcase IDX. So Showcase IDX is really designed to work with a customized website. So you can act like, for example, we have a WordPress website that was built to have Showcase IDX come in and give the information. So that's where you would have it. With KV Core, your IDX website that you have is still pretty good. I mean, it's not bad. It's just it's not as sticky as or as relevant as Showcase. And what I found is that if you have multiple MLS memberships in your market, Showcase IDX integrates that really well, versus KV Core is not that great at it.
Good to know. Good to know. So as you're expanding your business, and all of us have the opportunity to sell homes everywhere in every state we're in every state we're licensed in, why are you not listing homes? Like I live in Orlando, which is kind of central Florida. I will absolutely list a property in Jacksonville. I'll join the MLS there. I'll definitely do it. I have the ability to research and value homes. So do you. I can offer a cash offer at time of when we put the property on the market, as well as I have the opportunity to make sure that we can do the repairs. I'll check and make sure that Curbio works there. And I might even be able to get you ability to make a cash offer so we can do that. Imagine moving into your home, letting the repairs get done. We listed at the absolute highest price. You've got your baseline cash offer already in place. Yes, I'm joining the Jacksonville MLS. All right. Carrying on with some questions. So the market reports is based on MLS coverage, That was Eddie. Yes, that is correct, Eddie. And I think Trish asked a question about HomeBeat. HomeBeat is an additional expense, Trish. HomeBeat is the homeowner market report. It's very much like the market report we're doing. However, HomeBeat is more powerful. Look into it. It's the best in class, but it does have an extra fee. I would encourage you, use what you have. Find out how it feels, get a system in place to make sure it's deployed every single time. Because if you don't use it, it doesn't work. Gauge it. And if you feel like you want to do more with that, then go with the best in class. Just reach out to us. It's actually in the link. Joe, do me a favor. Tiffany, do me a favor. Drop that PDF, which shows the tech stack link. We're going to drop that in. So please pull that down. And that will be included in Workplace, as far as a link in Workplace, a file in the Workplace when we upload the video there as well.
Yeah, I would, here's what I would say. This is the plan of action. Number one, identify what you have and what you don't have. Number two, don't get anything until you've used, exhausted what you already have. Like you have KV Core, right? So learn all the fundamental stuff you need on KV Core and get those people in there. Secondly, leverage Curbio, leverage express offers, leverage any kind of partnership we're doing for relocation, get those certifications, because you need to have those things so that when you do have an appointment, you have all this menu of offerings that you have so that you can get that. And then the last thing I would say is once you have that, then I would start taking a look at, okay, where could I improve? Where can I have a better experience for the buyer? Or where can I have a better experience for search? Where can I have a better experience for this home report going out? Because now that you have those things already here, then you can go ahead and improve it. But if you don't have it in place right now, there's no reason to get that, pay the extra money to get that software and get it going.
Thank you very much for that. And that's true. So I had a question here. Where can you find scheduled classes, including Tuesday nights? Those are going to be found in GPS Global Partners. It's our webpage, or our website that we have in gpsglobalpartners.com. And under the training schedule, you'll be able to find them right there. Ready, Eddie, I'm not sure what this is, but data for the primary MLS is very limited. Primary MLS is not even recognized by KV Core. Reach out to KV Core Tech on that one. So this is from, I'm assuming this is from Pierre, and it says, be careful if your surrounding MLS systems overlap. You may get incomplete data. If you're part of a multiple MLS boards, you can then get them to get those added to your KV Core. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure that Success Motivator is Pierre. Good advice. If you are members of multiple MLSs, go to that help little button on KV Core and say, can you add the other MLSs? It will make your entire process more powerful. I would do that if I joined Jacksonville MLS. I think we're already in Miami at this point.
George,
So-
you need to start with EXP themselves. Start in EXP and go to the tech center or broker room to get the secondary MLS added.
Thank you. I knew if I was wrong, I'd get a good lift up on that one. Thank you very much, Pierre. I appreciate that. So if you have an issue, go to KV Core Tech Center, the tech outpost, and ask them first. Say, listen, I want to add another MLS. Good tip. Very valuable. Thank you. Curbio, fixed home pre-list, knock offers cash. That is correct. I'm going to read through some more, so I have some questions. Ali, if there's anything else you want to cover before we.
There is one thing I wanted to mention that you mentioned Curbio. I talked to Michael, who was with Curbio in Las Vegas at EXPCon. He actually said you can private label Curbio, and you just reach out to them, and if you want to. So you can. I know Veronica Figueroa has done that. You basically say, hey, our team can get you an estimate of work that can be done to improve the value of your home before we list your home and get it sold for a higher price. And Curbio doesn't necessarily need to be mentioned in that. So if you do have this as part of your planning, or this is going to be one of your main strategies on listing appointments, Curbio allows you to basically private label it and make it as if it's the, George Philbeck concierge service that we're going to go ahead and do that. It's just powered by Curbio in the background.
George Philbeck concierge service. Jackie, I'm going to need to know how to spell concierge when we put that out. But that's awesome. I mean, that's really, really good stuff. All right. I think we've covered most of the questions. Somebody asked about MailChimp. Hold on one second. Son, I'm on a call. I'll call you right back. Okay.
Go ahead, MailChimp. I haven't used MailChimp.
So MailChimp and KV Core do almost exactly the same thing. I don't think at this point there's a difference. KV Core is free. MailChimp for up to 2,000 can be free. KV Core's ability to edit an email is superior to MailChimp. It is my understanding that MailChimp has the ability, if you're dealing with people that have not opted in with you or have not in relationship or signed up with you, MailChimp can get past some of the blockers a little better because of the incredible volume they do. I wouldn't worry about it at this point. It's free, but it'll cost $10 to have it integrate with your KV Core. You can do that in KV Core Marketplace. And if you haven't gone into KV Core, I got to show you guys this. This is just something that's really kind of powerful. You should see. If you're in KV Core, you might want to consider going to Marketplace. And Marketplace is down this side. And in Marketplace, if you want to get more leads and promote a listing, connect to third-party tools, here's everything that we do. And it is a lot of things that you can add on. And since I'm in Tiffany's, I'll just add on a bunch of different things that right now, since it's her money, it doesn't really matter. Handwritten postcards. So MailChimp's in here as well. You can do that. Facebook leads. I would encourage you not to go Facebook leads and go with Google paid leads, Google pay-per-click. That's just my personal opinion, but look at Marketplace and dig in there. Remember, everything you see in Marketplace costs money though. And your job is to circle the wagons right now, protect the money you have and invest it wisely and make sure it works for you. There isn't a shiny object. For everybody on this call still listen, there is not a shiny object that's going to solve the problem. Everything we're talking about requires additional work, putting your shoulder into it, doing the hard work to get it done. It will take time to build your momentum, usually around 3 months. But if you build your momentum, you will find at the end of that 3 months, it's much easier to continue to do it. You're going to find success in that, but it's consistency. Might recognize this: time on task over time. Those 5 words, if you put those up, you say, all right, today I'm going to have, this is just one-on-one coaching, me for y'all. Today I'm going to have an absolutely awesome day. I'm going to get everything done. Here's my day. I got my quiet time. I got an hour and a half of workout. I got an hour and a half of prospecting, an hour of working on my business, and I have a couple minutes scheduled for time planning. I've knocked out the quiet. I've knocked out that. I'm about to hang up so I can jump into my prospecting time. And I'm going to rate my day every day. How am I doing? Well, yesterday was probably around a 2 because I didn't do a lot of the things I needed to do. But I have 5 things I have to do every day. You probably do as well. So give each one of them a score. If you get that one done, it's a 2. If you get all 5 done, you got 10. Now, a perfect day, even 3 perfect days a week, where you knock out what you must do, not what you think you should do today, but what you must do every day to reach your goals. If you can even get that number up to 3, where you have 3 days that are over an 8 or higher, you're going to have a very, very good chance of reaching your goals, because intellectually, you all know what you must do. If I were having a conversation with each and every one of you, I have a conversation with myself. What do I need to do daily to reach my goal? I can tell you what that is. If you ask me, what are you going to do today to reach your goal? I may say, look at boats and go play golf. But I intuitively know it's these 5 things, and mine are written down. Everything we talked about today is to help you be better. Ali gave you the best words. This is your ability to add massive value, not discount. You can offer huge value. You can go into workplace and find more value or more lead generation. You can go to the Tuesday class and say, every Tuesday, I'm going to put one thing to work for me and make that one thing add to my business, and it will. I would encourage that in my world, it's called WOB time, working on my business. So I'm going to find something the next Tuesday. I already know what I've got to do, and Jackie knows what she's got to do. Everybody's getting a market report. We should have done that years ago, and we're going to catch up. That's a lot of working on our business right now, because we got a couple thousand people in our database. What are you going to do? What's your perfect day, Ali?
The only thing I would add is, one of the things that I am starting to do is my day is split into 4 sections, right? So the morning is split into prep, lead generation and reconnect, marketing and transaction, and then new appointments. And you can fit all businesses in there, same thing, whether it's insurance, mortgage, doesn't make a difference. Prep, lead gen, reconnect, marketing, transactions, and then new appointments. You split out your day like that, and it's pretty easy, as opposed to trying to control every single hour or every single minute of the day, because it's so hard to do that. I've tried and it just doesn't work. But if you get those 4 categories, just like a football game would or a basketball game would, you got 4 quarters throughout the day: prep, lead gen, reconnect, marketing, transactions, and then new appointments. Makes it much easier.
Yeah. There's not that many big things you got to get done, and they should take priority over everything else, because literally that is the basis of your business. Has anybody here besides me, show of hands, the people I can see, gotten to 4 PM and go, wow, I didn't do anything productive today? Anybody besides me do that? Anybody had those days? Okay. You know what? That makes you human. It's not a bad thing. And it's definitely not a badge of shame on your to do that, because we're all like that. The mission is, if that happens, how do we set up our world so that it happens less and less? Because it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it unless you become a robot. All right. And I'm dead serious. You are not going to be perfect all the time. You can't. Just deal with it. Okay. For some of you out there, that's a big deal. But what if you were really spot on? For Ali, there's 4 things he has to do on a daily basis. For me, it's 5. That's just mine. But what if 3 days a week, you got to the point where you were knocking out all 4 or all 5 of those things that absolutely must be done? What's going to happen? Well, number 1, you're going to feel one hell of a lot better about yourself. You're like, oh, I can do anything. I'm accomplishing things. I'm moving this forward. Number 2, you're going to get momentum going in your business. You're going to find that all of a sudden, watch this, business is coming in, and you don't have time for the 4 things that brought the business in the first place. And then you handle the business, and all of a sudden you're like, well, I got no more business. So you go back to where you should have been doing all along. Do you hear us talk all the time? And you hear this in any kind of real estate environment. Your mission is to manage your morning, because you don't have any control of your afternoon. If you manage your morning, your afternoon will be full at some point. And if it's not, go play golf, go shopping, go do whatever makes your world whole. But you've got to manage it. And if you can improve that from one day doing 1 day a week to doing pretty well, up to 3 days a week, or even 4, you're going to see huge momentum in your business. And folks, this is the opportunity for you to take over the listing environment in your specific area. You have the tools, you have the support. Look around you. You have the technologies at which to be very, very good at what you do. Don't sell yourself short, but also don't hold yourself accountable to perfection. Just get better every week. Rate your weeks. Did you get a week that came in at 15? That's about 3 per day. That's probably not very good. You can get a week that goes into the 25s where you got over 50% accomplishing things. You're going to find massive success at the end of that. All right. That's all I got. Ollie, I leave it for you for final closing if you have anything.
No, you capped that off great.
Good. Then I am going to finish with what I always finish with. Go out there and tell somebody you love them, tell them they're important and they absolutely matter. You're going to make their day better. It is the basis to contact management, database management. It's also the basis to every kind of relationship you're in. You will change that person's day by that singular gesture of kindness and concern. And it's going to make you feel a heck of a lot better too. We watched something Ollie and I did, and the others that were at EXP convention. By the way, Ollie, can I get a hallelujah? If you are wrong, foolish, crazy, you are shorting your business success by not attending the shareholder and GPS or shareholder and the EXP con. Mind-changing, game-changing. Is that fair?
Both of them for
Right.
sure. I already pre-registered for both.
Me too.
You know, we mentioned yesterday, we're ownership. If you've got even one share of stock at EXP, you're ownership. And if the owner doesn't show up to the events of their own company, then what else are you going to do? What's your alternative, right? So definitely, I would say budget that, get yourself there no matter what. It will change your mindset more than anything else. And you'll see the results in the next 10 to 12 months.
I am so completely aligned with that. And the things I got from there just absolutely blew me away. I will tell you, for all of you that aren't really sure, I'm positive. This is the only company I've ever seen that actually cares about you as an agent, and they're doing things where they're saying, I don't want their money as much as I want them to have success. And here's why. Most real estate brokerages, independent, big corporations, franchise, doesn't matter. They use an actuarial mentality. The agent's going to be here for 2.5 years on average. Let's get as much as we possibly can from that agent. I believe very strongly that EXP's model is no, that's the wrong philosophy. Let's support the agent so much that they don't have a logical opportunity to go anywhere else. They're concerned about my health, your environment. They're concerned about owning lead generation platforms. The reason we have Leo on board is so that OpCity stops being OpCity and starts working for EXP agents exclusively. The reason we have Leo Pajera on board, the president of our ancillary services, and by the way, the thing you have to register for is Affinity. Go to Workplace and type in Affinity Group, find out where you can take the class. Ollie, you already registered, I think, right? You already did the class. We did it at the convention. They do that for free there. I think there's a fee. Pay it. Imagine being able to distribute REOs across the nation as opposed to them selling tape. That's what Leo Pajera is building. This is the company that says we want you, our company that we own says we want all of our business partners to be mentally, fiscally, and physically healthy. And they're doing everything for it. They're not interested in taking little nickels and dimes from you and charging extra things for everything. They do for that class because it has to be self-supportive, but that's about it. They're not interested in that where every other company says, pay for this, pay for this, pay for this. Here's an extra fee. Here's an extra fee. That's kind of impressive to me. They lowered the cost of health insurance because they were making too much money. Anyway, that was me on my soapbox. I'm going to step off of it now. I just had to share that because I'm super passionate about this company and the fact that they give a damn about every one of us. Have an amazing day. I'm going to hop on the phones and start making some calls. I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. And we've already lost some people to grit, which is good. They're out there learning and training. That starts at 9:30. Have an awesome day, guys. God bless you. And after party, Tiff.